That's happening. Donald Trump is announcing massive Bitcoin purchases, and he's going all in on crypto now. This really changes everything. We have a Bitcoin president who is now fully allocating his own money into Bitcoin. Check this out. How crazy is that? And it would also explain at the same time why the crypto or Bitcoin reserve here in the U.S. still hesitating, because of course Donald Trump wants to fill his pockets first. We've seen how at World Liberty Finances already, right? They would have bought Bitcoin. But what's happening now is that Donald Trump wants to buy Bitcoin directly through his own company. Or also cryptocurrencies, and isn't exactly sure if it's just Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. Whatever. That's a real bombshell. At the same time, you now have exactly 24 hours until the Czech Central Bank decides whether they will actually buy a significant amount of Bitcoin, up to 5% of their reserves in Bitcoin. This decision will take place tomorrow. I mean, just take a look at this. The president is buying Bitcoin. On the same day, the Czech Central Bank wants to buy Bitcoin. The Czech Central Bank can print its own money, can buy Bitcoin with it. Donald Trump, that's a huge signal to the market when Donald Trump buys Bitcoin directly. And then a strategic Bitcoin reserve is also planned. I mean, how crazy is that? What crazy times are we living in? That's absolutely mind-blowing. The blog trainer writes here, Trump, the media and technology group apparently wants to expand into the fintech sector and invest part of its cash reserves in cryptocurrencies. The Trump media group is more than half owned by Donald Trump. And that's definitely a very, very crazy move. So we also know that Donald Trump personally holds Bitcoin. Now he's also buying Bitcoin for the company. And then it's just a matter of time before he buys Bitcoin for the USA too. But always make sure to stop. More cents in the order. First, fill your own pockets and then fill America's pockets. Because then, of course, their own bags will be pumped up. It could just be a coincidence or whatever. I don't want to accuse anyone of anything here. But this is really the top burner here. What's going on here? So this definitely has absolute God deal vibes again. Trouble. Pre-confirmed. Not quite yet. But we're really getting close now. If this goes through. Vivek even writes here, Donald Truth. Are they going to buy 250 million in Bitcoin and crypto here? I don't know where it comes from. The number has people throwing number. People are throwing around different numbers. I don't think that number is right. He just threw some random number in here. Let's take a look at the official confirmation. We also need to take a look. In what context is that going to happen exactly? There will probably be more info coming in the next few days. 250 million wouldn't really be that much, to be honest. I mean, Michael Saylor is buying a lot more Bitcoin sometimes. But wait, the signaling effect is what matters. So it's not about that. Whether he's buying, I don't know, 200 million, 100 million, or 50 million. It's really about the signaling effect. Check this out, guys. It's like if tomorrow Olaf Scholz says, hey folks, we're going all in on Bitcoin. I'm buying Bitcoin with my company. I'm buying private Bitcoin. I'm buying Bitcoin for Germany. It's as bullish as it gets. But Germany is still very, very far behind. But the USA really seems to have gotten it now. It says right at the top of the announcement, Trump media announces expansion into the financial services sector. Because they probably realized it here too. Okay, hey, our cash reserves, if we just leave that sitting in the account, it's just melting away. They're just making the MicroStrategy move now, buying Bitcoin for the time being. Of course, not leveraged or anything, but just dipping your little toe in, testing the waters here. How it could be when it comes to buying Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and so on. Bye. It says here, the Trump Media and Technology Group, operator of the social media platform Truth Social, and the video streaming platform Truth, announces today that the company's board has approved a financial services and fintech strategy. This also includes the launch of financial services and fintech called TruthFi. And under TruthFi, they're probably going to buy up all the Bitcoin. To the company's cash and liquid reserves, which are over $700 million. December 2024, over $700 million. To diversify the reserves, the board has approved an investment of up to $250 million. Okay, got it. That's where the figure of $250 million comes from, which are held by Charles Schwab. So it won't be held in self-custody. But then they have the quasi here, Charles Schwab, who takes care of all that for them. Maybe they won't be buying Bitcoin directly, but rather Bitcoin ETFs, I don't know. In addition to traditional investment vehicles, these funds can be used as follows. And then it continues here. Here, for example, customized exchange-traded ETFs can be purchased. Here you can buy Bitcoin. And similar cryptocurrencies or crypto-related securities can be purchased here. So, as I understand it, you can even buy Bitcoin spot here. That's just ultra crazy. Maybe they'll do a mix. ETFs, Bitcoin spots. That means here, TrueFi is a natural extension of the True Social movement. We started by creating a social media platform for free speech, added an ultra-fast TV streaming service, and now we're moving towards investment products and decentralized finance. I mean, how crazy is that? I'm saying it. The development of America First investment vehicles is another step. So they probably want to invest here, mainly in things that come from America. I mean, Bitcoin is kind of global or something, but they probably want to invest in products like BlackRock ETFs, which of course come from America, or something like that, investing here. What's really critical to see here is when they say, for example, how this can be interpreted here. They can understand that too. You're only buying cryptocurrencies from America. Buying Bitcoin wouldn't be so great. Buying American Bitcoin or something like that, that wouldn't be so great. My assessment, I mean, the people who have any kind of shitcoin investments right now are definitely going to be happy because the bags are being pumped here. I definitely think that Bitcoin will play a role here. I mean, Charles Schwab, they're probably not completely clueless either. They probably know that Bitcoin should be a major part of a portfolio. You shouldn't just be buying Bitcoin or something like that here. So I do assume that Bitcoin is definitely being bought here, but they're probably buying other cryptocurrencies as well. Here you can actually see in the related filing that Bitcoin and similar cryptocurrencies or crypto-related securities are actually meant here. So it's clearly stated here. Bitcoin is also explicitly listed here. So that's definitely very bullish. And we're also going to take a look at what's happening over at the Czech Central Bank in parallel, because you actually have exactly 24 hours left to jump in here. The Czech Central Bank is taking the lead here, if you decide to buy Bitcoin here. But at the same time, you also have exactly 10 days left until the launch of Bitcoin Advantage, my new Bitcoin community. The waitlist is really growing every day. We're getting more people in the Telegram group every day. It's really crazy. In the Telegram group, I'm already sharing daily new added values for you, which are exclusively available there. They also share some videos there that aren't uploaded to YouTube because they might be too sensitive or something like that, or that you can't really publish it on YouTube at all sometimes. That means you really get exclusive insights here in Bitcoin Advantage. The link to the waitlist is down in the video description, so make sure to sign up. Important on 8th, we're starting with Bitcoin Advantage in February, and only people who are on the Telegram waitlist will get in. Receive. Here's guaranteed access. So definitely check it out down below. I'll put a link in for you. And now we actually need to look at the Czech Republic, because all of this is connected. That means the Czech Central Bank is probably triggered here as well, through Donald Trump, by making this announcement here, that he says here, okay, hey, we want to build a Bitcoin stockpile and so on. He's of course still buying Bitcoin himself. I mean, that doesn't affect the decision, because that only happened afterwards. But we can see here how everything is connected. Donald Trump is making a big splash, and now other central banks are getting in on the action. And then Donald Trump has to react again and has to make an even bigger splash. So we have this self-reinforcing Fomo cycle that's kicking off here. And here it says, hold on, that the Czech National Bank is voting tomorrow. Whether you're putting in 5% of your reserves or up to 5% of your reserves into Bitcoin. And here's the president, Michael, from the Czech National Bank, who has also made some really bullish statements. Bullish statements in the end. He's put it out there. He has acknowledged it on one hand, that Bitcoin can actually lead to a total loss. But on the other hand, he says, hold on, that there are massive opportunities for us. And here they're going to vote on it tomorrow. So the crazy thing that's really happening here. They're not starting with 1% or anything like that. They're potentially allocating 5% right off the bat. And this isn't just a crypto story. It's definitely a Bitcoin story. And that's why David Bailey is saying, hey, we can't wait 6 more months as the US anymore, until we buy Bitcoin, but we really need to dive in right now. Difference is right here. The central bank is buying it. In the US, it's more like being pushed forward by the Trump administration. Here, it's more like being pushed forward by the central bank. So you have to imagine this. When Jerome Powell says, HEY, we're buying Bitcoin, but Jerome Powell has already spoken very negatively about Bitcoin. And then it's more like being triggered here in the US by the Trump administration and the states. And in the Czech Republic, the central bank is the key player pushing this forward. So, at different global levels, we now have various players advocating for Bitcoin. And the crazy thing is, if the central bank doesn't do it, then the administration will. If the administration doesn't do it, then the states will. And if the states don't do it, then the people will. Step up and take action. Central banks are calling for, like in Switzerland with some initiatives, that you bring Bitcoin into the balance. That means no matter where you look, Bitcoin is being talked about everywhere. We never really see complete consensus anywhere. That the administration, central bank, politicians, and people are all in agreement You don't see that very often, but there are in all. Destinations have various players trying to push Bitcoin forward. Then it's just a matter of time before we see more announcements coming. Could that really be the case? If this keeps going like this and things actually get through, and Donald Trump here now, Bitcoin is being bought by the Czech National Bank here. If Bitcoin is being bought, then other players have to take action. And then one announcement after another will come. Hey, the central bank is buying Bitcoin now. The company is still buying Bitcoin. The politician is getting into Bitcoin. The state wants to buy more Bitcoin. The state wants to buy Bitcoin now. This is definitely the ultimate form rolling in on us. And that's why I said at the beginning that we might be getting some God candle vibes coming our way. And I haven't even mentioned that yet. If this really happens and they allocate 5% here, then that's about 70,000. Bitcoin being bought here. See, this Germany has 50,000 Bitcoin. They want to buy 70,000 here. Buy Bitcoin. And he already said, Michael, hey, are you aware of this? That's a serious amount of Bitcoin. That's a serious amount of money. 70,000. Bitcoin is definitely a lot where the markets can really be moved. So they probably won't buy it all at once, but rather over a period of time, maybe over a month. So they probably won't buy it all at once, but probably over a period of time, over a month. 2 months, 3 months or so. 70,000. Bitcoin, that's some serious buying pressure. He's definitely going to make a move upward. And that also has, let's say, symbolic significance. That means the purchases aren't really the main thing. The much more important thing is always the symbolic significance. So that means the message out there is, hey, Bitcoin is now a legitimate asset. Bitcoin is now held by central banks. Bitcoin is held by the Trump administration. Bitcoin is held by Trump's company. I mean, it's endorsed by Trump. Bitcoin is endorsed by Larry Fink. Bitcoin is held by BlackRock. Bitcoin is endorsed by BlackRock. Those are the signal effects that people pay attention to, and a lot of people are just sheep looking at, okay, what's Trump doing? What's the central bank doing? What's BlackRock doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? And when all the big players start buying Bitcoin, then people get FOMO and think, wow, crap, man, they're all buying Bitcoin. I don't have any Bitcoin, so I got to get in here. Let's fucking go. Also, just to put that into perspective, here, Andre Dragos writes here on Twitter, and I got to say, it really shocked me. He writes here to put the whole thing into the right perspective. Just these Bitcoin purchases by the Czech Central Bank would correspond to a supply of newly mined Bitcoin for about 5.3 months. That means the Czech Central Bank is buying as many Bitcoin as are newly entering the market in 5 months. MicroStrategy is buying up so much Bitcoin. But here, what do I know? How much will be mined in a year or two or something like that? Donald Trump is buying up as many Bitcoin as are mined here in a week, or whatever, how much will be mined. That was just a number thrown out there. That's not right, 100%. And then there are other players who are also buying Bitcoin here. And then there are a few miners who are, mining a few hundred Bitcoin or so a day. And then you can just see that an absolute supply and demand shock is coming our way. Because we just have too little Bitcoin. That means demand is outstripping supply. And that ultimately means rising Bitcoin prices. And that's basically exactly what could be coming our way. That would historically fit so well into the pattern. Because now is actually the time where Bitcoin should slowly start breaking into the parabolic phase. That was always about a year after the Bitcoin halving, 9 months after the Bitcoin halving, 10 months after the Bitcoin halving. And that's exactly where we are heading right now, into the hot phase. And news like that could basically catapult us into the next nation-state Fomo cycle. But to be honest, the Bitcoin price hasn't reacted that massively yet. Somehow, people are still sleeping. Adam Beck always says there's an information asymmetry. By the way, I'll be seeing him tomorrow. Adam Beck at the Plan B conference here in El Salvador. Maybe I can ask him for an interview. But the Bitcoin price isn't completely escalating yet. But what I find crazy, for example, is this. Just take a look at this. It's nothing special, but it just shows what's going on here right now. We have Samuel Coleman here, who is advocating for Bitcoin in Switzerland. And he's getting requests on LinkedIn from central bankers. And from someone who's somehow involved with the Bank of International Settlements. By the way, check out the pool view here, it's pretty loud. Definitely, he's getting requests here. On LinkedIn, now the central bankers and the folks from the Bank of International Settlements want to connect with the Bitcoin maxis here. And they want to, exchange messages or whatever. What they want to do. Here together, maybe go eat some melons or whatever. But this is the crazy time we're living in. And now the central bank has to respond to Bitcoin. Soon, Christine Lagarde will also have to find answers regarding Bitcoin. The Swiss central bank had previously opposed it. I just published another video. But other central banks aren't just sitting around. He also said something very, very interesting here. He says here, hey, just imagine you're the last government, like the last state. Or you're the last central bank buying Bitcoin here. then you're just going to lose big time. Last one. The last individual buying Bitcoin, the last company buying Bitcoin, the last government buying Bitcoin, the last central bank buying Bitcoin. We'll all be massive losers. So you gotta ask yourself the question, adopt, or have fun staying poor. There are only two options. Bitcoin is the big filter that separates the dumb from the smart people. Bitcoin is the big filter that separates the rich from the poor. It's not meant to be derogatory like that, but that's just the reality in the end, that you have to understand. Anyone who understands Bitcoin, he's probably going to regret that in the future, or he's going to have a massive competitive disadvantage. Hey folks, if you still want to buy Bitcoin, then I'll drop a link for you down below. 21 Bitcoin, how you can simply and safely buy Bitcoin. Absolutely recommended. Here you have savings plans, here you have auto wallet transfers, here you have limit orders, and there are just tons and tons of people. And the most important thing is you can still front run the Czech Central Bank here. You can even front run Donald Trump right now, but time is running out. 24 hours until the decision from the Czech Central Bank. And maybe just a few days or weeks until Donald Trump makes his move here. See you, take care, peace out.